So I'm going to say this. The entire 13 minutes was cringeworthy. The entire 13 minutes, if I was somebody to sit and judge body language, which I do as a therapist, but I don't want to I don't want to project in that way or assume. They don't seem like they're together in that capacity, right? I think they love each other, but the way the conversation was, there seemed to be a lack of intimate love that existed right there in the midst of the 13 minutes that I watched and that we all watched. Again, I can't speak to that. I can be far off base. Only thing I can do is speak to what she said. And I'm definitely going to get to your comments because that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the comments. You see, I'm getting all hot and bothered right now. Again, 267-420-2070. Or you could try to Skype in at Rhetorically Speaking. Let's get to the comments, right? So this relationship that she had with August, not entanglement. She didn't have an entanglement with August. And when we talk about her being disrespectful of what she and August had, it's when you use words like entanglement, like this is something that happened. No, she had a full-fledged relationship with August Alsina. And so when I say she's doing the brother emotional harm, it's when you make comments like that. Yes, Ashley, I am activated. I had to take the glasses off. I'm sweating a little bit up here. It wasn't an entanglement. And I'm glad Will held her feet to the fire and held her accountable and say, no, not an entanglement, relationship. Again, language is big. Again, this bill of goods we've been sold about the importance of communication and how words matter, she chooses entanglement to try and minimize what she experienced with August Alsina. Next, with her and Will and their relationship with August. Now, I've been saying a lot that there appeared to be a mentor-mentee situation where Will and Jada acted as surrogate parents to August Alsina because he was dealing with some historical trauma. We know that his brother was killed. I think this might have happened before his sister died of cancer, where he was taking care of his brother's kids. Right? So he's been dealing with depression. He's been dealing with substance abuse. When they met, it was under the guise of being Jaden and Willow's friend, somebody an artist that they liked. But look how they spoke about his substance abuse. He was really, really sick. They had to emphasize that he was really, really sick. Right? Again, we got to pay attention to what we're listening to. And I'm definitely going to get to the comments. Because I'm going to hold some of y'all accountable. Right? Because words matter. And so, again, it was under the guise of mentor-mentee, surrogate parents. Listen, we want to help you. We want to help you because you're really, really sick. We're going to help you get to rehab. That's what they intimated in the conversation when they're talking about helping him get the services that he needs. It's beautiful. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for doing that. And so now here we are. Well, first, let me tell you about somebody when you're dealing with co-occurring diagnosis. Let me explain this to you, right? So that's when co-occurring is when you're dealing with mental health and you're dealing with substance abuse. A lot of times, and us therapists experience it, right? We become attached to those who are helping us throughout the process. Some people even take it further and they become intimately connected with this individual because, again, they start skewing the boundaries, right? They start blurring the lines a little bit. And we see this in different professions, whether it's a pastor helping out a parishioner, whether it's a doctor helping out a patient, whether it's a therapist helping out a client. This is what takes place. It can take place. And it's up to the individual who is in control, right? Because Jada has a lot of control in this situation. because she is the one helping him. Again, she talks about healing him, right? Not necessarily giving him the credit for doing the work by himself, because ultimately, if he didn't want to heal, if he didn't want to work on this, it was nothing that Jada could do to help him in that situation. But I think she talked about that later, when she talked about having this knack to help people, right? Because of historical trauma that she experienced. I've experienced that as well. I found myself dating people who I had to quote unquote help fix because there was inadequacies within me. And so I appreciate her for speaking to that. But I also feel like August needs to be given the credit more so than Jada as he started to work through it. And so now they get to a point where he's feeling good. He's feeling better. Right? He probably made some advances towards Jada. She may or may not have denied him initially. But then she starts having issues with Will. Right? And then she starts to get the lines blurred, right? She starts to forget what her role is. I can understand that and I can empathize with that. Right? But here you have somebody who looks at you in a certain way because, again, you keep telling us this. And now here you are finding yourself spending more time with them, starting to interact with them and engage with them in a romantic way. And so when people like myself say that's kind of manipulative, because look at it, you're going from a surrogate mother. You're going from a mentor, somebody that's helping me with my problems, to now you're dealing with me, right? Again, it's control. It's control. It's borderline abusive. Once she started and she engaged in that situation. But again, they're consenting adults. No, it wasn't a formal professional role. They're free to do whatever the hell they want. But again, for those of us who sit back and look at it, we're going to sit there and say, "Oh, Jada, that's kind of nasty." And we're well within our right? Because we see this take place in so many different forms of life. It could be the old head helping the young girl out, right? Might give her a place to stay. You owe me sex, right? We would look at that wrong, right? Wouldn't we? Because why? He's taking advantage of his position, the power that he has, and using it for their advantage. No matter what's taking place in his life, we would still look at it as such. Fast forward. She says, August cut it off. Like August disconnected when I was trying to understand myself and my relationship with Will. So she either used August, because it's hard to believe that he's just started making advances towards her once she broke up with Will. That's not how it goes. Someone that understands human behavior, that's not how it goes. He's been dropping hints because that's what people do. Right? That's what people do. And so now August is like, nah, I'm out. I'm disconnecting. Surprisingly, he was able to do that because a lot of us get stuck in these situations. A lot of folk get stuck in these situations where they feel obligated to be with this individual because they helped them, right? We see this in so many domestically violent or in emotion. When I say domestically violent, I'm talking about physical domestic violence and emotionally abusive situations. Because they helped me when I was down and out. And so we stay. You dig me? But kudos to August for leaving. Now, Jada, she did her best to deflect, to minimize, to avoid, to shirk responsibility throughout this entire ordeal. She says, yeah, I don't know why I was brought it up. It's kind of private. Now, granted, I ain't got to shoot August bail. He got an album coming out. Somebody asked him a question, especially where he is, if he's sought therapeutic services and he's seen a therapist and they encourage him to speak his truth, speak truth to power, which we all should be doing, but all of us don't have the necessary self-esteem and the confidence to do that. Og spoke truth to power. He spoke his truth. And maybe in his world, he just wanted to make it seem like Jada said, he wasn't breaking up a happy home. So he said Will gave permission. But this is Og's truth too. Right? This isn't about Will and Jada. No, this is about Will, Jada, and Og. And so if he deemed it necessary for his wellness, or if he deemed it necessary for his album sales, is it kind of nasty? Possibly. If you're doing it for album sales. But you do what you got to do, right? If that's how you feel, if you're trying to truly speak truth to power. When he made that song Nunya last year, I don't believe it was an album coming out. But I think it was a cathartic way for him to talk about what he's been experiencing. Because at every turn, Jada talking about her relationship with Og, she talked about him being a drug addict. Talking to him about being depressed. Him about needing healing. Him about being sick. She never talked about him like I was attracted to him. Right? She felt comfortable in talking about all the unhealthy things that he was experiencing. And so when I say Jada is kind of nasty, yeah. Jada kind of nasty. And we need to be mindful, right? We need to be mindful about where we're giving our energy. And again, she's human. She's fallible, right? Some of us has been in that situation, right? And it shows that she needs to continue to work on her healing, which was evident during this 13-minute red table talk, because she gives every other conversation 43 minutes. And how contrived was that bad marriage? How contrived was that? You don't think they prepped beforehand? You think this was truly authentic and them just speaking what I'm feeling? Come on, man. They made a living doing this. Jada has gone from being irrelevant to now being in the forefront. Right? Will has gone from being dormant. Now he's in the public light, taking social media by storm. I applaud them. But again, let's be mindful where we put all our hope and our love and our admiration and adoration. And we need to be especially mindful to chew the fat and spit out the bone. Because everything that they're saying we don't necessarily need.